Alright, so we're here for the unboxing video for the second expansion in the Return to Ravnica set. This is Gate Crash, following a similar pattern that Return to Ravnica, so you got 4 guilds, that's right. Dimir doesn't exist, fellas. Remember that. We've also got Boros, Simic, Orzhov, and Gruul. So, before we open it up, a couple things that we're probably really looking for right now. Rullius Fury is a pretty good card to pull. Maybe some Domri raids, of course, any of the shock lands. Aurelia, Zagana, Obsidat. So certainly got some value in the box. So let's start it up. Only really going to talk about some of the, as far as the commons and uncommons go, only really going to talk about the really big ones that may define certain formats. So let's crack the first pack. See what we got. They changed the foil. Remember, foil used to be in the back. It's no longer there. Your token's actually in the back now. So, got Syndic of Tides, Night Watch, Gutter Skulk, Disciple of the Old Ways. You get Blood Rush mechanic for Gruul. Basically turns all your creatures into giant growths with various abilities, usually trample. So it's an interesting ability. Of course, we got Active Treason back, reprinted. Nothing we really want to talk about here yet. Alright, so we got our first mythic, kind of a Lord of the Pit variant, Lord of the Void. Nothing too exciting. Go for pack number 2 here. With our soldier token. Really love the hybrid card frame they use for these. Pretty awesome. I definitely want to talk about this guy. Unsure yet if he sees play in standard, but he was Skynet Legionnaire was an all-star in Sealed during pre-release for helping turn on Battalion on turn 3. Drop a Boros Elite, Daring Skyjack, Skynet Legionnaire, swing for, 9, or 8 rather, so that's pretty good. That's too exciting here. Alright, so that's pretty cool. Another reprint. Naturalize, I think, is just a card that they want to keep in the format. But we got a foil version of it. That's a pretty cool art, so it's not too bad. Got a News Flux. Not really sure about this card yet. Remove 1 or more +1/+1 counters from among creatures you control, and you put an XX Ooze into play. Kind of work it with the Simic ability. Again, not too sure about this one. Probably doesn't see play at this point. That's unfortunately the thing about this set that a lot of people have noticed so far, is that this set's just really hard to evaluate. So there's not a lot of cards that stand out. We're definitely going to have to test and figure out what we should be playing. Not too much here. So of course we got the whole cycle of Guild Mages. This is the Zamek Guild Mages, this is the Simic one, so he works pretty well with the Evolve ability. Of course, always hoping to pull a Zagana. Alright, so kind of got some money here. A lot of people are saying that Gideon's not really going to be an all-star. He's weird. He costs 1 less than the old Gideon. Doesn't really, do anything when he hits the board like the old Gideon did. So people are, they're kind of mixed on this, whether or not he sees play. He does cost 4, traditionally 4 cost Planeswalkers. If they're going to see play, they see play at that casting cost. So. All right, continuing on here. kind of just want to talk about the extort ability a little bit. It's on the Orzhov cards. You know, you pay a white or a black when you cast a spell. They lose life and you gain life. So it's kind of like Kicker, which is really cool. I want to talk about Shamble Shark. This guy was really good. Buddy Joe was playing Simic in the pre-release. Just the whole evolved mechanic is pretty nice. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if its power or toughness is greater than this creature, so like, you know, for example, if a 3/1 entered the battlefield, this would get a counter. And you can flash him. You know, he's a 2/1 for 2 mana is, you know, that you can flash is good anyway. But then you got the evolve. It's pretty nice. Of course, got our cycle of Guild Gates. This is the Gruul one. All right, so I'm sure we'll see some people trying to combo out with this. You got Biovisionary here. He's a 2/3. If at the end of your end step you have 4 or more creatures that are named Biovisionary, you win. You know, so maybe see somebody trying to combo out with this type of a deck. I don't see it in Standard. I don't really see it in any of the formats. But I'm sure someone's going to try it, so it's kind of neat. Alright, still. Alright, this is actually a card that some people are speculating is actually going to possibly replace Huntmaster in some of the Naya builds. You know, it costs 4, 2 red and a green, same casting cost as Huntmaster, but it has this Blood Rush ability where it gives a creature, an attacking creature, +4/+4 and trample for just a red and a green. So get a lot of value there. So some people are certainly speculating this is going to see some play. It's interesting. Of course, you got your whole cycle of charms. We're really excited to open some Boros charms. This is Orzhov. Alright, so our rare is Assemble the Legion. Not too much here. Beginning of you up, you put a counter on it, and then you put a number of +1/+1 red and white soldier creature tokens. Remember I showed you earlier this guy right here, so that's what that makes. And they get haste. So can get out of hand pretty quick, but it costs 5, so it's not efficient. Alright, we're continuing on here. This is a card that saw a lot of play in the sealed event. I think it's pretty good and limited. Your creature gets +3/+0, and it can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures, so it provides some evasion there. I lost a couple games against it for sure. Alright, so that's kind of weird. You can see here that our rare came in upside down. I know there was a pack up in Canada where they got a Portuguese rare foil. That was kind of interesting. So I might have saw that on Twitter. Anyway, so this is kind of the you know, removal spell, you know, mass sweeper of the set. Kind of gives you some modes, so you can choose to exile all artifacts or creatures or enchantments or planeswalkers. So you really see them adding this planeswalker to cards now, where they're giving you the ability to interact via spells and get rid of planeswalkers. So this is kind of neat. Moving along here. Still not seeing a lot worth talking about. Again, this set's just really weird to evaluate. Okay, so that's kind of cool. We got a Thespian stage. So what this does is it actually becomes a copy of a land that you control, and it gains this ability. So there's some speculation that you know, this could be used in kind of those 12-post decks, you know, with the Locust abilities. Kind of get you some extra mana. I don't know how efficient it is, but some people are speculating on that. Alright, so we certainly got some mythics left in this box. Let's hopefully pull. I haven't seen any shocklands yet out there. Psychic Strike, seeing this in some you know, some pre-standard deck lists. Kind of unsure about it. You know, it's basically that 3 casting cost area where, you know, dissipate and such. I don't know whether or not you would view the ability to mill 2, which is what this does, or the exile ability and dissipate, which one's, you know, better. So people are certainly trying to use it. So Burning Tree Emissary, I actually like this guy. So he costs 2, hybrid, green-red, and when it enters the battlefield, it adds a green-red to your mana pool. So it's kind of a free creature. So it's kind of interesting. So we got Soul Ransom. Definitely see some people talking about this. It's like a control magic. You steal their creature. However, they gain the ability to discard 2 cards to have you sacrifice Soul Ransom, which you get your creature back. But then they draw 2 cards. So you know, it's kind of weird, and it's actually, you know, makes you pay a lot to get that creature back. So I actually do think this sees some play. Alright, so we're still looking for some shocklands here. We're certainly not seeing them. We got a Molten Primordial. There's a whole set of these. This guy is a very expensive Zealous Conscripts, but he's got a little bit of a bigger body. Alright, so we'll continue on here. A whole lot to talk about here. I think if people play that, you know, the Evolve deck with the Gyre Sage, this may see some play. You know, it gets as big as much mana as you want to put into it. So it'll be interesting to see if people try to work with that. All right, so we got a Legion Loyalist. It's a 1/1 for 1 with haste. It's a goblin, so it kind of follows that, you know, mold. It does have a battalion, so if it attacks with 2 other creatures, your creatures gain first strike and trample, and they can't be blocked by creature tokens. So, not really sure about this one. Again, I mentioned before, like this set's just really hard to evaluate, and it is. It really is. Not too much here. Oh, here we go. So this is kind of cool. I got our first Boros Charm. Definitely, this is probably one of the higher viewed cards in the set. So, you know, modes, deals 4 damage to an opponent. You can get your opponents become indestructible until end of turn, or you can give a creature double strike. So, very, very cool.
It's like 6:30 to 9. That's 2.5 hours.
And some pretty sweet sideboard tech here if you're playing. So Blind Obedience, artifacts and creatures your opponent controls enter the battlefield tapped, and it has Extort. You know, this will get you away from some of those blocking conditions with flash creatures like your Angel and your Thragtusk and whatnot. So this is actually a good pull. A lot of people are using that in their sideboards from some decks I've seen. I actually got a copy in the Boros deck that I've been brewing with. So glad we pulled one of those. So So talk about this a little bit. Hands of Binding, new cipher mechanic from Demir. So when you cast it, a creature your opponent controls gets tapped, doesn't untap during its next untap step, and then you basically attach it to a creature. You exile it and you cipher it onto a creature, and every time that creature hits your opponent for damage, you get a copy of this spell. So I'm certainly seeing Hands of Binding in some lists that are trying to, for example, like the hexproof decks. That have the unblockable guys that are trying to get through for damage. I'm seeing some copies of that in there, so that's a cool one. Got another Psychic Strike here. Got a Demir Charm. It's pretty cool. Talk about the key runes a little bit. So this is the Simic one. You get 2/2, 2/3 crab. With hexproof, and it also taps that mana. So there's a whole set of these, just like there was in Return to Ravnica. So rare is Mystic Genesis. It's kind of an interesting card. I'm seeing this as like a 1 or 2 of in some of the Simic decks. You counter a spell, and then you put an XX green ooze token into play, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. But as you can see, it's a little expensive. It's 5 mana. So, but I can certainly see, maybe countering a Thragtusk, getting a 5/5 ooze. Continuing on here, kind of start going through these a little faster now. Demir Guildgate, that's kind of cool. Got one of each of the Guildgates now, that's very cool. So, we've got a Foil Forest, that's cool. It's actually very pretty. Mind Grind is they're really pushing mill for Demir. So this is each opponent reveals cards from his or top of his or her library until she reveals X land cards. And then they put all cards revealed this way into his or her graveyard until an X can't be 0. So, you can imagine, maybe playing this against somebody who's playing, Charbelcher or something in standard in an Eternal format. Could be interesting, but don't really see it as a standard card. Another kind of weird rare. So we got Rubber Belt Raiders. Costs 4, of course, 3 hybrid red-green. It does get big quick. Whenever it attacks, it gets a +1/+1 counter for each other attacking creature you control. So I actually won a couple games with this in Sealed. The casting cost, of course, is if you're playing Gruul anyway. That triple colored mana doesn't really matter because you have some availability whether you want to use red or green there. So that's really cool. Alright, so continuing on here. So we got Spell Rupture. I actually see some people talking about this. You counter a spell unless its controller parries X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So of course you got to have an deck that's running creatures, but you counter for 2. So it's like not really a mana leak variant, but it's giving you some flexibility in that regard. So people have been talking about that a little bit. So, got a foil Night Watch, pretty cool. Put two 2/2 white knight tokens into play. Our rare is Realm Right. It's a 1/1 for 1. When it enters the battlefield, you choose a land type, basic land type, and lands you control are the chosen type in addition to their other types. This gives you a little flexibility. It's fragile, so I haven't really heard anybody talking about this card. Actually, I'll talk about this a little bit. So, Again, for Cloudfin Raptor, 1 for a 0-1 flyer. It's got the evolved mechanics, so this is certainly seeing some play, or will see some play, I think, in people that are trying to run the Simic list. This as well, 3-1 flying trample for 3, Drakewing Crassus. Again, if someone's trying to run the Simic deck, I think that's going to see some play. Alright, that's pretty cool too. So we got a foil Drakewing Crassus. That's always pretty cool. And we did get some value. So we got Prime Speaker Zagana, which is one of the ones we definitely wanted to open. So it's a 1-1, enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters, where X is the greatest power among other creatures you control. And when Prime Speaker Zagana enters the battlefield, draw cards equal to its power. So you can certainly see where this could get out of hand pretty quick, and she could, draw a lot of cards when she hits the battlefield. So definitely happy that we pulled one of her. Alright, so this is probably one of the last commons and uncommons to talk about. This is Skullcrack. 1 in a red. When you cast it, players can't gain life this turn. It deals 3 damage to a player. This card is probably going, in my opinion, will define what Standard will become. Standard's been dominated by Thragtusk and Restoration Angel. And this shuts that off. So if they cast a Thragtusk in response, Skullcrack for 3, they don't gain 5. If they Restoration Angel targeting Thragtusk, Skullcrack for 3, they don't gain the life. It's a very cool card. I'm glad we got one. Foil Mountain, so we're certainly getting some foil lands here. So this is what I like to affectionately call Helix Elemental. Helix Lightning. It's basically Lightning Helix, Lightning Helix and Ball Lightning mix. So it's a 6-1 trample, lifelink, haste. And at the beginning of the end step, you sacrifice it. I definitely see this as a 1 or a 2 of in certain Boros decks, especially if you have the ability to Boros Charm it and give it double strike. It's pretty disgusting. So happy that we pulled one of these. So our rarest Treasury Thrall, this was the Orzhov pre-release promo. It's got the Extort, it's a 4/4. Whenever you attack with it, you can return an artifact, creature, or enchantment card you control or in your graveyard to your hand. So some pretty nice recursion there. So continuing on here again, we're kind of going to start rushing through these because there's not a whole lot to talk about. Very cool. So we pulled some additional cash here. Got an Aurelius Fury, X, red and white. You can divide, deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or players. You tap each creature that gets dealt damage this way, and players dealt damage this way can't cast non-creature spells this turn. And it's an instant. So kind of like a fireball plus, if you will, and definitely worth some major cash right now. So we're pretty happy that we pulled that. Alright, so our rare here is just a Wrecking Ogre. 3/3 double strike for 5, but it does have the blood rush ability. So for 3 and 2 red, you can give an attacking creature +3/+3 and double strike. So not a whole lot there. We're continuing on here, pretty much just opening stuff we already have at this point. Nothing too exciting here. So we did get something new here. We got Gruul Rage Beast, so 7 mana for a 6/6, and whenever Gruul Rage Beast or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature fights target creature an opponent controls. So you get a fight on a stick for each turn, so that's kind of cool. Definitely saw that seeing some play in Limited over the weekend. So we got another one of the Primordials. This is the black one. So 7 mana, 5/4 Intimidate. When it enters the battlefield for each opponent, you may put up to 1 target creature card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So again, just a little expensive for what it does and what you're getting. Definitely getting some multiple copies of cards that are going to be playing Standard, so pretty happy with this box. This is a card people were talking about as well. We got Urban Evolution, so 5 mana, draw 3 cards, and you may play an additional land this turn. It's expensive, but it's powerful, so not sure if this will see any play, but some people are toying with it, so it's certainly being discussed. And we got a Foundry Champion. This guy was the Boros pre-release guy. 6 mana. When it enters the battlefield, it deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of creatures you control. And of course, it has fire breathing, and it also has the shielding ability for white. You get +8/+1. He was great and sealed. Just a little too expensive maybe for Standard. Kind of clean up here a little bit. We're getting quite a few cards at this point.
You know if anybody else is going to Tuesday?
I don't know. I mean, I think that answered that.
You know him?
I don't know. No, I think he went there.
All right, there we go.
That first one was about yeah, he's a mouthy little guy. He just touched the wall when I broke through. He was like, yeah. And I was like, what? Like, he just went like, hey, you don't even, well, one, I never said that. Never had thought like that. But you only do that if you're like swatting somebody. Like,
All right, so finally, after we've gotten halfway through this box, we're finally going to get a shock land here. So we got a breeding pool for those Simic players. So pretty happy that we pulled a copy of that.
I guess you were saying it was luck, like everybody tries to say. But I mean, I did them all different ways. I'm like, here's a slow one.
All right, so this is cool. So this is a card actually that you can combat the hexproof decks that are out there, the banned hexproof. So it costs 1. Creatures your opponents control with hexproof can be the target of spells or abilities you control as though they didn't have hexproof. And you can pay 3 and sacrifice it, and creatures you control gain hexproof until end of turn and are unblockable. It's a really cool ability.
Yeah,
I definitely am running a copy of that in my Boros sideboard of the 1-0. It's just kind of a cool box.
Miranda. Great wants to say bye again.
through here. Again, pretty much you've already gotten most of these now, so not too much to talk about. Not really want to talk about this for purposes of using it, but I just love the art on this, on Gift of Orzhova. I actually have this as my computer background right now. Just beautiful art. All right, this is actually the release promo that we'll be giving out at F&M for the first time. So 8, what do we got here? 8 mana for a 9/9 trample, and you can pay 5 and 2 green instead, and you discard it. And target attacking creature gets +9/+9 in trample. So lots of damage being put out here, but very, very expensive. Alright, so again, just moving through here, Sky Knight Legionnaire, Balustrade Spy. Not too much to talk about or be excited about here. Got another Orzhov Charm. So this is cool. Our foil is a Merfolk of the Depths. Just not really anything I think is going to see play, but it's a pretty foil. That's our 6th foil in this box. That's kind of cool. Rare is 5-alarm fire enchantment. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage, you can put a blaze counter on it. You remove 5 blaze counters from it, and it deals 5 damage to target creature or player. So, kind of weird. Continuing on here, got a lot of these guild gates popping up. Love to see a couple more. We'd love to see a couple more Shocklands in this box. Elusive Colossus again, 3 mana for a 0/4. It's unblockable. It's got the evolve ability. So our rare is Illusionist Bracers. Whenever an ability of equipped creature is activated, if it isn't a mana ability, copy that ability. You may choose new targets. So equipment, kind of janky. And we're down to our last 8 packs here, so hopefully we crack a few more Shocklands in these last couple packs here. Got a Simic Charm, so that's the first one in the box. Foil is Simic Manipulator, Evolve, 3 for a 0/1. You can remove 1 or more counters from Simic Manipulator. You gain control of target creature with power less than or equal to the number of +1/+1 counters removed this way. So, kind of weird. We got a foil rare, so that's kind of cool. High Priest of Penance. White black for a 1/1. When it's dealt damage, you can destroy target non-land permanent. Certainly didn't enjoy seeing that guy in sealed this week, and it's just weird. He pretty much always gets through because you don't want to lose anything.
I want to do it. It's my dreams, my toy.
Got another Orzhov Charm here, so that's kind of cool. Alright, so we got the Gruul promo that was released. So all the promos, I think, were 6 mana. This is a 6 mana. Rubblehawk's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. It does have the Blood Rush ability, just provide that to a creature. So, alright, down to the last 6 packs here. Let's see what we get. Got a lot of Guild Gates here. Another Gore Clan Rampager. Pretty happy about that. Alright, so we got a foil Basilicus creature. A lot of foils in this box. That's kind of cool. Our rare is the blue Primordial. When it enters the battlefield for each opponent, you may cast up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from that player's graveyard without paying its mana cost, and then you exile it. Again, all these are just way too expensive for standard. Moving on here, getting to the end. So our rare is actually biomass mutation, and I actually do see this seeing some play. It's 2 hybrid green blue and X, and creatures you control become XX until end of turn. So this could be potentially very powerful. I do see that seeing some play. Can't believe we only opened 1 Shockland in this box. That's actually pretty surprising. Hoping we get lucky here at the end. We did get some value though, so we can't be too upset. Got another foil rare. So Undercity Plague. Player loses 1 life, discards a card, and sacrifices a permanent. And our rare is Immortal Servitude. So 3 hybrid Orzhov. Return each creature card, converted cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Just for fun. It's like a fun thing, I guess. Yeah.
Another Boros Charm. It's kind of cool. And our rare is Unexpected Results. You shuffle your library, reveal the top card. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. If it's a land card, you may put it into the battlefield, and then you return this to your hand. I actually had a guy over the weekend in Sealed actually cast this 5 times and hit a land each time, so kind of annoying. Alright, last 2 packs here.
Valuable of your back issues you have. You had to guess on the top of your head.
Another Guild Gate. Alright, so we did finally get another Shockland, so we got a Watery Grave here, blue-black. So I'm happy to see us get that.
What kind of conditions, man? Fine.
I'll be right back.
And of course we got the Dimir pre-release promo, Consuming Aberration, so nothing too exciting there. This one actually cost 5, so I was incorrect on the 6 casting cost thing. So I guess we didn't do too bad as far as value goes. We got a couple of $15 shocks, Watery Grave, Breeding Pool was kind of cool. We did get Aurelius Fury, which is good. Prime Speaker Zagana. So we definitely pulled some value. Got a Gideon as well. So overall, I think we're pretty happy with this box. We definitely got our money back. That's going to conclude this. Remember, Gate Crash is now on sale here at Collector's Corner. We run Friday Night Magic every Friday night starting at 7 o'clock. $10 entry fee, 3 packs per person into the prize pool. We'd love to see you out, and thanks for watching.